Illustrator provides powerful control of text that is placed on the artboard. Even extensive body copy can be handled well in Illustrator by using the area type features to thread text between multiple frames. Let's take a look at an example of how you might do this. I'm beginning this video with the surfer.ai file already open on my computer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my type tool, and I'm going to come down here to this slightly opaque area that is below the main surfer, and I'm simply going to click and drag to draw a frame on the left half of this strip. And as you can see, we now have a text frame, an area type frame, and we can insert some text. So with my cursor blinking within that box, I'm going to go to the File menu and choose Place. And I'm going to navigate to my Chapter 12 folder, and I'm going to select the surftext.txt file. And I'm going to go ahead and click the Place button. Now, the text import options will open and allow you to control some of the information about this text file. So we can choose the encoding, the character set. We can typically leave these set to their defaults. And we do have some options for cleaning up the text that we import. So for example, if we wanted to, we could remove the carriage return at the end of every line, and we could even remove extra returns between paragraphs. Down here at the bottom, we can replace X number of spaces with a tab. So by default, that is turned on, and in this particular text that we're importing, it really doesn't matter. So we're going to go ahead and leave these set to their defaults and click OK. And that's going to place that text into that text area. Now I'm just going to press Command A on Mac or Control A on Windows, and I'm going to come over here to the swatches panel and change the color to white. And that way, when I click off of this, we can now see the text that we've placed into that text area. Now, one thing you'll notice is that we now have a plus sign in the lower right corner of this frame. And if we switch to our selection tool, you'll notice that we actually have a box in the upper left corner and in the lower right corner that you may not have seen with other objects. And these are what are referred to as the import and the output of this text frame. So the red plus sign simply means that we have overset text, or more text than will fit within this first frame. So one option we have here is we can thread this text into another frame. And we can either do that by drawing the frame ahead of time, or we can do it on the fly. So I'm going to do it on the fly. I'm going to click on the plus sign, and that's going to give me a loaded text cursor directly to the right of that frame. I'm just going to align the top. As you see here, I'm going to align my cursor with the top of the first frame, and I'm going to click one more time. And that's going to give me two text areas that are linked together, as you see indicated here with this thread indicator. Now at this point, you can readjust these. You can move them around and change their position. You can even change their size as well. If you wanted to, we could grab the bottom handle of this first frame and pull it up a little bit to balance these two columns. And then we can just shift-click and kind of nudge these down a little bit to align them within that area. And I click off of them, and we can now see that we have two frames that are threaded together. Now, there's going to be times when you've threaded two frames together and you want to unlink them for one reason or another. And one option is we can simply delete this second frame by pressing the delete key on our keyboard, and that will now give us overset text again. But that second frame has now disappeared. So I'm going to press Command Z on Mac or Control Z on Windows to undo that. What I'd like to do is keep that frame there and unlink them. So again, I'll just click on the first frame, click on the output. We'll now notice that when we hover over the frame that it's linked to, we get a little chain link with a slash in front of it. So if I click, that's going to unlink those two frames, but notice when I hover over here, the frame still exists. Now we really don't need that frame, so we'll just press the delete key on our keyboard. And one other way you can deal with threading text areas together is we can simply tell this text area or text frame to have two columns in it. So if I click on this first frame with my selection tool, I'm going to come up here to the type menu, and I'm going to choose area type options. This allows me to not only define the width and height of the selected frame, but it also allows me to split that into rows and columns. So if I increase the number of columns to 2 and I turn my preview on, you'll now see that I've split this text area into two separate areas. And you can control the inset spacing which is the distance from the edge of the text area to the text itself. You can also control where the offset is controlled as far as the first baseline, basically where the first line of copy aligns within the frame. So I'm going to leave this set to 2 columns here, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now I can simply grab this right handle and open this up, and that'll still allow me to have 2 separate areas, but it's one frame. So it's a great way of taking an existing text area and dividing it into 2 columns, or even 2 rows, or more than 2 rows and columns. So a very powerful control. As you can see, threading text in Illustrator is a piece of cake. Combine this with Illustrator's powerful text formatting, and you can't go wrong. Practice threading text on your own artwork, and you'll see how powerful this feature can be.